All right, well, welcome everyone to Valuing Green Homes 101, Bridging the Gap Between Real Estate and Energy Efficiency. This course is approved for 1 hour in Continuing Ed, GBCI, AIA HSW, NARI Green, AIBD, Green Certified Professional, and may be applicable to your local state-based design or contractor license. I am your moderator. My name is Brett Little. I am the Executive Director here at the Green Home Institute. Green Home Institute is a nonprofit with a mission to empower people to make healthier and more sustainable choices in the renovation and construction of the places we live. And a huge shout out to all of our supporters, our sponsors like Andersen Windows, Panasonic, our members, our Green Raiders, volunteers, presenters, and our board of directors. We couldn't do that without them. Do you support greener homes, support our mission, keep these events going, keep them free, make a donation, become a supporting member today. All right, very excited here to have our presenter here, Pamela, is it Brookstein?
It is.
Got it.
You're fine.
Pamela is the Market Transformation Specialist for Elevate Energy, working to make the value of high-performance homes visible in real estate transactions. She coordinates the Learning Network, a national group of efficiency experts who are making groundbreaking accomplishments in the realm of visible value. She works closely with the local real estate community to increase usage and understanding of the Green MLS, or Multiple Listing Service. Ms. Brookstein has spent much of her career building relationships with municipal leaders, community organizations, and local residents to improve the public health in Chicagoland. And right before I hand it over to her here, I just, all day long we can discuss the technical aspects of residential green building and come up with great ways to get to zero energy homes. It's easy, right? But the fact of the matter is that the valuation piece is really a huge barrier right now. And so we're very excited to continue to get this conversation going, to work with folks like Elevate Energy, who Pam's going to tell you a little bit about, to really break down that barrier, to have conversations with the appraiser and real estate professional and the lender, who ultimately, we need to work with to communicate the value of this. So we're really excited to get this ball rolling on this and work with Pam and Elevate, and we hope you enjoy the session. So take it away, Pam.
Thank you. And Brett, that was a really good introduction as to why this is important. So let me just start by saying that Elevate Energy, we're a not-for-profit based in Chicago that works to help people use less energy at its very basic level. And you may notice that Brett did not say, I am a real estate agent, and that is because I am not. I am an energy efficiency advocate, and one of my roles at Elevate is to help translate the language of energy efficiency into the language of real estate, because that seems to be one of the big problems. Is we're talking past each other quite a bit. And that brings me to the agenda for today. I'm going to be talking about why we, folks who work on this energy efficiency side of the equation, should be working with the real estate community, why we should care. And I'll cover why this is a great time to be doing this kind of outreach. I'm also going to talk about the real estate industry in general and explain what some of their workplace concerns are and how that affects the messages that we want to relay when we're talking to them. And then I'll talk about a couple of really concrete actions that can make a big difference when we're talking about visible value. So I think the ultimate goal for most of us who are on the phone is to get more homeowners to make their homes energy efficient. And those of us who have been working in this world where energy efficiency and real estate intersect believe that we can make this happen. We can make more of these homes energy efficient if the homes that are high performance, that are green, or whatever word we use, if they sell for more money in the real estate market. Because then homeowners will start retrofitting their homes, and home builders will build high performance in the first place because home buyers are demanding it and they're paying more for it. And everybody has their own reason for getting to this goal. There's the social justice aspect. You know, we want to help homeowners save more money, and there's that kind of green environmental aspect. We want to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases in the environment. And then there's also just let's make more money on the houses that we build and the work that we do. But it all comes down to, if we get increased value at the time of sale, it doesn't matter what the reasoning is, we'll just have more energy efficient homes out there. And I think you all know that this is the big problem. This is my house, and this is where we are. Not one person who has come to my house in the last 5 years has commented on my incredibly well-insulated and air-sealed attic, unless I bring it up, which I've been known to do, but people still don't really care about that. But of course, they do bring up my new couch because they can see it. So what this is all about is getting to the point where we can solve the problem. And we think that if we get high quality, easy to understand data about these homes, these improved homes, energy efficient homes, into the marketplace, we can make a difference and get to consistent and fair value of these homes. So this slide definitely has a lot of words on it, but in its essence, and you can maybe look at it more later, this is all about the importance of getting data about these homes to all of the stakeholders in the real estate transaction. All of these entities responded data to information, which is why cross-industry collaboration is so important and why we really need to think about engaging all these different players. The caveat here is that the data needs to be in a form that makes sense to all of the players, and not just to the energy efficiency folks, meaning that air changes per hour just isn't going to cut it with a real estate agent. So not that long ago, we had no homes with verifiable third-party certificates indicating some sort of high performance. And now we have close to 3 million, which is incredible growth. And with that growth, we've seen a lot of new attention and awareness focused on the benefits of these homes. And I'm going to be talking about some of the research that's out there doing just that, as well as the attitudes of the home buyers and the real estate agents themselves. And I'm covering this because I think it's important to set the stage. This is to understand why now is such a great time to start really working together with all these different stakeholders. So here are just some pictures of a couple of the studies that are out there. The great news is that there's this growing interest in studying the effects of green on a building's health in the marketplace, as well as on the attitudes of the people buying these homes. And this is exciting because we're getting noticed and we're being acknowledged, and this isn't something that is in the fringe. We're definitely in the mainstream now. And we're seeing this research done across the single family, the multifamily, and the commercial marketplaces. So I will cover a couple studies in a little bit more depth. So I'm going to start with the consumer here. And I don't know how many of you have seen this, but the National Association of Realtors conducts its profile of home buyers and sellers every year. They've been doing this for years. And for years, they've also been finding that 86% of buyers, home buyers, think that heating and cooling costs are important to consider. So to me, this is somewhat groundbreaking because this is a total cost of ownership issue and not necessarily about being green, because green is seen as a niche, but total cost of ownership, that's bigger, because homeowners are realizing that along with the mortgage payments and the property taxes, they should be factoring in utility costs. So we have savvier home buyers out there. There you go. Millennials are this next big group that I hear real estate agents talking about quite a bit, because this is this group that's the next group that's going to be looking to buy homes, and they're somewhat confusing to many of the traditional real estate agents out there. And what I did is essentially obviously just Google millennials home buying, and I cannot tell you how many stories are out there about this group. And I wanted to point out that Bloomberg study, which I love, because Frugal, once again, says total cost of ownership, that this is a savvy group that understands home ownership is an expensive proposition. And looking at all these words that I circled in red, everything that the millennials purport to want is a benefit of a high-performance home, which again helps us make the business case for why our work is so important. And I threw this in, again, because of total cost of ownership. I think it's one of the strongest arguments out there for energy efficiency. I can't say this enough, and partly it's because it's a very true story hitting home for me. It's how I sold my husband on all of the upgrades we made to our home. I could not sway him with the comfort angle. I told him left and right that our 100-year-old bungalow was going to feel a lot better once it had even a little bit of insulation in the attic and in the walls. But what I was able to sell him on were our lowered utility bills, though in the end, of course, his favorite outcome has been the comfort benefits of all the work we've done. This is a multifamily study, as you can see, and this was done by Elevate Energy's research team. They looked at a group of 13 buildings that were upgraded through Elevate's Efficient Buildings program. And they compared them to buildings that underwent an energy assessment but did not complete the upgrade. And you can see the energy impacts, right? Less energy usage. But it's the non-energy benefits, the financial ones, that are the big sellers for building owners and managers. And then Elevate also surveyed the tenants in these buildings that were upgraded, and they were happy with the comfort factor and, of course, the saving money factor. And while tenant turnover was not covered in this study, I think it may be fair to say that happy tenants stay longer, which reduce the turnover rate. And again, this is a benefit for building owners and managers. So another way to build that business case to the real estate community. And then here's a commercial study that was done in September of 2015. This was interesting, I thought. Researchers had a 10-year data pool of about 300 office buildings across North America. And the study determined that buildings with green certifications, that's what they were looking at, green certifications brought direct benefits in higher rent and higher occupancy levels, as well as some indirect benefits, like higher lease renewal rates and tenant satisfaction scores. So very similar to the Elevate multifamily study, and here they actually saw that lower tenant turnover. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the marketplace, and I will explain this slide. Back in 2014, we started with the 100 largest metropolitan areas as defined by the U.S. Census. So we plotted those on a map. Then we found the number of homes in those areas that had at least one of the following, either a LEED, an Energy Star, or a National Green Building Standard certificate. So we found out how many had one of these three certificates in these different metro areas. And we picked these particular programs because they are national programs and because they report out by metro statistical area. So we were able to, to map that. It made it easy. Then, because some of this data is tough to find, I will throw that out there. But then we took the number of new homes that were built in these same areas, again, as defined by the census, and we divided the two numbers, and we came up with what we called a high-performance home density number. So you can see that the green areas on the map are where there's higher densities. So the next thing that we did is we found the MLSs that covered these metro areas. And it's not perfect, but generally MLSs that are found in major metro areas cover that entire area. And what was very surprising to us was that 86 out of those 100 MLSs reported having some sort of green field. We didn't check the quality of the green fields or find out what those fields were, but they self-reported as having a green field of some sort. And generally, we saw that areas that had a higher concentration of high-performance homes had an MLS with green fields. This is an incredible tool for figuring out where to concentrate efforts on the advocacy side. It's definitely, for instance, if you know an agent, if you're in Houston, they have somewhere around a 1 in 3 chance of selling a home with a third-party certificate. So those are agents that could be open to learning more about how to sell one of these homes, because if they could be leaving money on the table if they don't learn about it. So we have this great inventory of homes out there. We have green fields in the MLS, and what we're seeing is the marketplace is responding to these homes that have a third-party certificate. So here you're seeing a picture of a study that came out of the North Carolina Energy Efficiency Alliance. They compiled the results from multiple studies and found that homes with an Energy Star label sold more quickly. They found that in some markets, these certified homes sold for an actual price premium, but they also found that even when the homes didn't command a premium, they sold at a higher percentage of the list price. And finally, they saw that a certified home tends to sustain its market value better than a non-certified home. So again, great for building that business case. This is a study from the Institute of Market Transformation and the Department of Energy out of DC. And the researchers here found that, in DC anyway, not only are home buyers interested in high-performance homes or homes that have green features, but they are often willing to pay more for these homes. And here's a key statement from the study, that high-performance homes marketed with green features, like a certification, sold for a mean premium of 3.46%, compared to homes without green features. And here's the problem that we're having, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, is that these homes have to be marketed with green features. So the real estate agent, the home buyer, everybody along the path in that transaction needs to know how to indicate that this home is special. This is, I'm hoping that people saw this, because this is, I think, a pretty cool report that came out late last year from Remodeling magazine. The researchers here ask real estate agents to estimate the payback on certain upgrades. And what they found that the cost of an average attic and air sealing project was about $1,200. Real estate professionals, meanwhile, estimated that the project would increase a home's retail value by close to $1,500. So the final number that came in was that there's a $117 return for every $100 invested. And attic insulation and air sealing was the only project out of the 30 that averaged out nationally with a greater than 100% return. And again, this is coming from the real estate agent's point of view. So they're paying attention too, is I think one of the great takeaways. And then finally, this study has been out since 2012, and it is from California. And they found that a green label on a single-family home in California provides a definite market premium compared to a comparable home without that same label. And the research does indicate that the price premium is influenced by local climate and by the, as they call it, the environmental ideology of the area. And when I used to talk about this study in a different capacity to homeowners, I had one that said to me, yeah, but they don't even have real weather. Think about what the price premium should be in a place like Chicago. So, so I thought that was a really interesting statement. And okay, so that's just some of the research that's out there. I don't want to go into too much, but there is a lot out there. Sorry about the dog barking. So I'd like to move into this this real estate 101 piece. And this is really all about relationship building, that we can't expect the real estate industry to want to work with us and respect us if we don't understand what makes this industry tick, what's on agents' minds, what they're worried about. This information is important to know when we're trying to build relationships, and I was thinking that maybe this should actually be called Dating 101. So real estate professionals are business people. They have a lot on their plates. There are so many special interests trying to get their attention, which I did not realize before I kind of started working in this realm. They have people from house cleaning firms to mortgage brokers to companies that supply closing gifts. And it just isn't worth it to learn about something that isn't going to build their business. So, which means that if we want to get real estate agents out there to care about this topic, we need to make the business case in a way that really resonates with them. So if we can prove that a home that offers high-performance features, whatever those may be, if we can prove that that home will command a higher price on the market because consumers will pay for it, and we can prove that these homes actually exist, because there are still agents who don't know that there are these 3 million homes, then we're going to get agents to care about this. And we need to make this business case in a way that really resonates with them. So again, it's sort of like talking about the air changes per hour. That's just not going to cut it for this group of professionals. And there's another argument for helping an agent to understand that learning about high-performance homes is good to know. And that is that you can help an agent become the source of the source. Agents want to be the center of the real estate transaction. They want to be seen as trusted advisors and experts. So while they don't need to know everything that you all know about making a home more energy efficient, if they know that their clients are interested in this, they can refer those clients to people they trust, which would be you in this case. So to start building this proverbial bridge in the title of this webinar, there's some key things to understand. These, I think, are a couple of the most important things I've learned over the past few years. So first of all, that very first bullet, that word is pronounced realtor. It's not realtor. And I do my best to say it the right way, though I still do get it wrong on occasion. But if you say realtor, your street cred will go through the roof. Next, the word realtor means that someone is a member of the National Association of Realtors. It is not a word that's synonymous with being a real estate agent. In fact, one can be a real estate agent and not be a realtor. So if someone is a realtor, they are an agent. And members of the National Association of Realtors, and that's a trade organization, have pledged to uphold the NAR Code of Ethics, and they also pay yearly dues to that organization. And then there are also differences between agents and brokers. A broker has taken another level of exams and continuing education requirements, more than what it takes to be an agent. So brokers can work alone, or they can hire agents to work for them. One way that I get around all of these different words occasionally is I say real estate professional, because that lumps everyone together. Though I think saying agent, everyone has to be an agent at the very least. So that's another good place to start. And I don't think it's necessary to understand this in minute detail, but it is good to know that these words mean different things. And here's something else I wanted to point out because I think it's important, that there is NAR at the National Association, and then there's a state association, and there's a local association, and agents have to pay yearly dues to all of these organizations. It's an expensive proposition to be a real estate agent. And it is by belonging to their local association that an agent gains access to the MLS. So again, they have to be a member of at least local and state. And then there are at least 1.1 million folks out there who are members of the National Association of Realtors. Okay, so a little bit more about real estate industry. I love this report. I love the name of this report. So DANGER stands for Definitive Analysis of Negative Game Changers Emerging in Real Estate, which I think is fantastic. This is funded by NAR, and it's a list of the threats and challenges that are facing the real estate industry in the next around 3 to 5 years. And again, I love this report because it really lays out what people in the real estate industry are worried about in their day-to-day professional lives. And it pulls it out by category. So you can see that all of these different entities, all of these pieces of the real estate industry, they have different concerns. I just pulled out threats to the agents, and I think they really give good insight into how we can reach out to real estate and say, we have something to offer you. We know how to help keep you in the center of the transaction because we can teach you what is special and important to know about the energy efficient homes out there, and we can help you make millennials thrilled with their new home. You know, this group that they're worried about capturing and helping in the next wave of home buying and selling. And again, that number 10, that agent is removed from the transaction. This is scary. This has a lot to do with the Zillows out there that people are going online first. And an agent who knows a lot, who can be this trusted expert, that's the person who's going to stay relevant and stay in the middle of the real estate transaction. And you can be the person that helps them get there. So I wanted to just talk briefly about MLSs, multiple listing services, because it was something that I had never thought about before I started doing this work a few years ago. And this is where all this magic data that I talked about earlier needs to go if it's going to make it into the real estate transaction. What an MLS does at its core is get data to its customers. Their customers are real estate professionals and appraisers, and the customers of those groups are their clients, their home buyers, and their home sellers. So here's maybe the most important thing, or very important thing to walk away with. The key to an MLS's heart is high quality, easy to understand data that's verifiable. What I also did not realize a few years ago is that there is no the MLS, and this is the challenge. There are actually around 750 MLSs across the country, and they serve memberships that range from, and I'm not kidding, 13 people to over 10,000 people, which is fairly crazy. That was a little mind-blowing to me. They are decentralized. They each have their own governance models and field offerings. There are more than 10 major MLS system vendors out there that provide the database, the programming, and the hosting services to this industry. And then there are hundreds more that provide niche services. This is a really complicated industry. So this, I think, is my favorite slide. It may not be everyone else's, but I chuckle every time I see it because this is why the MLS is important. Right now, certificate information has to be manually added by an agent. And there are people right now working across the country to figure out how to automatically get certificate and energy efficiency data into the MLS. But in the meantime, it's important to have this information about these upgrades or the certificates themselves in a home's MLS listing, because if the information isn't there, then it is as though it just doesn't exist. Appraisers use the MLS to pull comps so that they can make an accurate appraisal. And there's no way for an appraiser to value a home for more money if there's no evidence proving that that home is special. All right, so now we are at the concrete action part of the webinar. And I'm going to talk about some concrete actions that you can take, should you want to help get to that magic visible value, that consistent and fair valuing of these homes. This was a document that was written several years ago by Elevate Energy, and you'll see National Home Performance Council, that's now the Home Performance Coalition. This is a document located for free on Elevate's Value for High Performance Home campaign site, and I'll be giving you that web address in the final slide. It's a step-by-step guide for helping folks like us, for helping efficiency advocates learn how to best engage the real estate community. And I'm not kidding, I refer to this document almost daily in my work for help and guidance and just kind of keeping me on track. There are 7 steps in the document, and really the first 5, maybe a little bit 6, are the ones that need to be done in order to get to 7. And I'm just going to cover the first couple, but I do highly recommend reading this document. I get emails about it all the time, asking questions and saying thank you that this is out there. Okay, so the blueprint step 1 is document the upgrades. And this is that whole data piece I talked about quite a bit. So this is why verifications or scores or labels or whatever they are so important, is that they make the upgrades visible. It's a way to objectively document the work that has been done to a home, because there is no builder out there who will say that they have built a home that isn't high performance. But can they prove that it's high performance? They can if it's built to a nationally recognized standard that is above current code. Also, the certificates, if properly added to an MLS listing, make sure that all the parties in the real estate transaction, that slide I had up at the very front, buyers and sellers and agents, home inspectors, appraisers, lenders, the whole group of them have easy access to information about a home's relative energy efficiency. And actually, here's the most important piece to agents about documents like this, and MLSs actually, is that they're third-party verified. And so they remove liability from the agent. And so instead of an agent saying in the comment section of a home's listing, this is a green home, which could mean almost anything. And it's actually a dangerous thing to say unless the home really is the color green. The agent can say, this is a home performance with Energy Star home, and this is what it means to be a home performance with Energy Star home. Again, that removes all this liability, and that is a great way to talk to the real estate community about this kind of documentation. And another really cool thing about a certificate such as this is that the agent can take a picture of it and add it to the home listings photo gallery, so that even if a buyer or the buyer's real estate agent doesn't know what it means to have an Energy Star home, their interest may be piqued and they may Google it because it must be important if it was featured in a photo. So that's another thing to take out there to real estate agents and clients and homeowners that you work with. This is another way to document the upgrades that have been done to a home. And this is the Green Addendum, and it was created by the Appraisal Institute as a way to document a home's energy efficiency features. And every contractor who does an upgrade should fill one of these out and give it to the homeowner. And then the homeowner should put it in an envelope and tape it to the electrical box so that when the appraiser comes through, when they sell that house, they'll see it. I mean, the perfect scenario would be that it's in the electrical box, but also that the homeowner remembers to give it to the real estate agent who includes it in the MLS listing, because they can upload it and attach it. But at least if it's in the electrical box, you can be assured that it won't be filed away in a drawer and lost forever, like so many of my documents. And this is why it's important that the appraiser gets this. It's because they can use this Green Addendum in their opinion of value. And again, it's about getting the data to the right people in the right format, and the questions asked in this addendum are asked in a format that resonates with the appraiser community. Also, I want to point out that anybody associated with the home can fill this addendum out, including the homeowner. I have one that I filled out on my own home, and I have several, actually, that I update as I do new work, which some may say is a little obsessive, but but I really want my fair value when I close on this house, when I finally sell this house. So that's the blueprint step one. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about this tracking the supply, which is 2, and that goes back to that original map that I had at the beginning, the map of the United States showing the high-performance home densities. And this is a map of Chicagoland, and this actually includes new construction homes and existing homes. And we were able to divide out by county. And I just have a story that I think will explain why tracking the supply and kind of putting it in picture form can really change your relationship with real estate. I had a friend who was a realtor out in Kane County, and I was trying to work with him to help me with a program that I was doing on realtor outreach in Kane County. And he said, Pamela, there is nobody out here besides me who cares about this stuff. I don't even think we have any homes that could be identified as high performance. And so I gave him the number of homes that were in King County at the time. This is several years ago. And there weren't really that many homes, to be honest, but he thought there were 0. And if you think there's 0, and you find out maybe there's 100 even, which is around what it was, he was so excited. And he agreed to help me out because suddenly he, as I like to say, he thought he was this lone wolf out there in King County, and he wasn't. And that was how he agreed to start working with me. And I actually just got off the phone this morning with the Fox Valley Association of Realtors, and I'll be doing a program with them. And it has a lot to do with me being able to prove to them that there is a market for these homes and that they exist. So I thought I would just kind of give the business case about this tracking the supply. Just on the efficiency side, this is how you determine where it makes sense to work and step up maybe the work that you're doing there, because you see there's a big supply of homes in that area, which goes back to the story I just told. And for agents, this is how you reach them with that business case. If there's a large inventory, it makes sense for them to learn about high-performance homes and what defines them and how to market them and how to help sellers get the best asking price. Because in the end, agents don't want to leave money on the table, and they want to be seen as someone who can do the best job for their clients. For the MLS, if there's a large inventory of homes, it could be worth it to add greenfields. So they're providing the most accurate and up-to-date information to their clients. But it's expensive to add these new fields, so they're not going to do it unless there's a strong case for doing so. And even appraisers can use this information. They can use that information to show trends when valuing a home.
And just real quick to clarify the last two slides there where you guys were tracking these homes, there was a question, were you using the MLS or what rather were you using to track the supply of homes?
So this was not easy. What I did was I got in touch with all of the different certification programs that I used, which was, again, it was Energy Star, LEED, National Green Building Standard, and Home Performance with Energy Star, and tried to figure out, and then broke those down by county. It took some time, but that's how I did it. It was phone calls because this information, it's not easy to find, and that's a problem that we have on the efficiency side. It would be great if there were just public maps out there that we could go, even not to identify specific homes themselves, but even just like this by county area. Like real estate, all real estate is local, and county is a way definitely to, to reach out to agents. That's something that resonates with them. So that's how we got that data. Does that help?
If not, there'll be a clarifying question. So thanks.
Okay. And here we go. This is the website I told you about. This is Elevate's Value for High Performance Home campaign page, and you'll find a lot of the research that I just talked about. You'll find news that's up to date. We also have a news alert that we have posted out there, and you can sign up to get the news alert, so it comes directly to your inbox. And maybe most importantly, you will find that visible value blueprint, which again I think is really a key jumping off point for working with real estate and understanding what resonates. And Brett, I don't know if you want to field questions. So somebody asked where they can find a principal residential green and energy efficient home addendum form, and you can find that on the Appraisal Institute site. If you Google it, you can get there. You can also get it from that Elevate Energy site.
Yeah, let's definitely go through some questions. So you're saying the question was, where do you find that green appraisal addendum?
Yes.
It's very hard to find, but I tell you, if you write in green appraisal addendum into Google, it'll be very easy to find. So I wouldn't recommend looking through their website for it, though.
And one of the first questions was, what is the type of language that you recommend real estate agents use in the listing of green homes? What's working? And so I covered this at the very end. This is where having documentation is the best way to go, because the best language is the verifiable non-liability producing kind. It's this home is Energy Star, which means it was built to this set of requirements. Attaching that green addendum, here is a list of features that this home boasts, because language is tricky. And actually, if you do a search of MLS listings with green, what you frequently find is, it's near Green Street, or we're in the Green School District, or we're near a big green field. So green, it's a tricky word. And even energy efficient can, it can produce some liability there. You want to be really clear. This home was brought to a 15% energy loss reduction through its participation in the Illinois Home Performance with Energy program. Is something that's a little safer.
Pam, there's another question here, and I kind of want to start out with a couple things to add to it, and then kind of hand it over to you if that's all right. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So the question is, it's really about this green appraisal addendum you had brought up, where you could kind of fill it out yourself and hand it off to to the appraiser and put it on your electric box. It was interesting. Just a little bit of anecdotal, personal story here. But back in 2012, we bought a home in Grand Rapids, Michigan, an old 1928 home, and we put a plan together. And we ended up cutting the energy use down by 40–50%-ish and got it certified to the Green Star Home Certification Bronze Standard. But really cool, before we did all that, we obviously, I'm one of those poor millennials they all talk about, so especially back then. And so, what we did was we said, okay, we're going to do Green Star Bronze. We're going to get it down to 50% based on our plan and scope of work. And we handed that to an appraiser and the Green Addendum and said, can you eke out some value here, because we're going to need to give this to the lender to borrow more money to do this. And we had a couple of appraisers that were like, huh? And so finally we found one who would agree to do it, take a look at it, and we actually were able to squeeze out 2% more value out of the home, which allowed us to have enough borrowing power to somewhat, it wasn't the best, but to get closer to our goal. But interestingly enough, when we went to go sell the home just several months ago, we tried to do the same thing, and we didn't have time to cycle through appraisers, but the appraiser basically turned it down. So basically Rob's question is here, the bad thing about this Green Appraisal Addendums is, number one, agents don't even know it exists, or they've never heard about it. And then the other pushback I always get is that they would have to go through the training to have confidence in using it. So I guess, knowing all of that, what are your recommendations for somebody to use this tool if for the most part we think the appraiser is going to get it and say, either I don't know what this is or I haven't been properly trained to do it?
So, okay, those are good questions. The first is, it's true. Not many people know this exists, which is a good reason to start filling it out and making sure it's given to the homeowner and explained. It's not a perfect world by any stretch of the imagination, but we need to do something. We need to document. So we have to be using the Green Addendum on a regular basis. Now, the appraiser cannot fill out the Green Addendum. It's put out by the Appraisal Institute. It's for the appraiser to use because they can use it in their opinion of value, but they do not fill it out. A real estate agent could fill it out on behalf of a homeowner, but not the appraiser. But here's what's key about this Green Addendum. If the Green Addendum makes it into that value chain and all the steps happen perfectly, it makes it to the agent, and if it makes it to the lender, what that should do is it should trigger the understanding that this is a special home and it needs an appraiser who has that specialized knowledge. And there is a question on here somewhere about is there a class like or designation like the green designation for realtors that the National Association of Realtors manages. And there are courses that appraisers can take. The Appraisal Institute has a fantastic class that's taught by Sandy Adamatis, and that gets them a green designation of sorts. And so what that should do for the lender is understand that it's now their job to find an appraiser who has that specialized knowledge and should send that appraiser out to the home because they will understand how to properly value all of those upgrades. I understand that this is not happening yet, but this is how we make it happen. We have to be following those steps. So I got a question just now. I believe only an appraiser who is competent can complete the AI addendum. No, again, an appraiser should not fill out the addendum. It's someone who's associated with the home, so the homeowner or the contractor, they can fill out the addendum because it's a list of the assets. Then that is given to the appraiser to use. So if it's being rejected, if something's going wrong, then it definitely is a misunderstanding. And there should be information, again, when you Google Green Addendum about how the form can be used. And I do recommend, I will throw out there Sandy Animatis, who is an appraiser extraordinaire out there and teaches about green appraisals. I do recommend getting her book if you are an appraiser, so that you have this information and know how to work with these homes.
Great. Several more questions coming in. I'm going to bundle a couple of them together, and I'm going to actually tie a few things here. So there's some questions about the Department of Energy's home energy score in regards to valuation and where it's at. We actually happen to be a home energy score partner, and we're helping expand it here in Michigan as well as other parts of the Midwest. And yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of momentum on that. There's nearly 50,000 homes that have been assessed, and there's just states that have committed thousands and thousands of homes to this, basically this miles per gallon label tool. So, you know, it's going to be, at some point I anticipate every home in the country, you know, having this label on it. It's just a matter of time. And to bring up Rob's point here, he says, don't forget that there are also financing programs through the FHA and Fannie Mae to make homes more energy efficient. And a lot of those programs, especially on existing homes, are now tied to that home energy score. So if you can say, hey, look, I'm going to get my score from a 3 to a 6, then you can bring that to the lender. And for both 203Ks and for conventional, the lender should be able to say, oh, yeah, you know, I see you're going to have more borrowing power because your utility bills are going to be less. And so I can, you know, I can get you some more borrowing power, and then hopefully the appraiser can get the value added to that. But I'm also going to connect that to what we're seeing with the SAVE Act moving through the market. And I don't know, Pamela, maybe you have some other insight on both the SAVE Act and some other financing mechanisms that you're seeing out there.
I don't feel like I have. I know that the SAVE Act has been out there for quite a long time, so I'm not holding my breath on that one necessarily, but I do think, again, that all of this goes back to the more verifiable good data that we have out there. Yeah, we're going to be able to affect the lending industry as well.
I was joking with a colleague the other day on the SAVE Act, and I agree with you. And I'm like, this is the 10th letter I have signed of support in 4 years. Like, come on, guys. But that we all probably know what's going on with that. But anyway, so another question or thought, actually some real good feedback from a real estate broker. As a real estate broker, I recommend that the agent put the certification, put the energy label, I'm not sure, put it into the purchase contract to mandate that the lender, the one that orders the appraiser, use a green certified appraiser. That one action makes all the difference in the world of getting value. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Pam.
No, I think that's great. It's always good to hear from an actual real estate agent. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. Another one that came through here from Jamie is my issue with the GA.
Green Addendum.
Green Addendum, okay. I use that as lead green associate, but okay. The Green Addendum is that it does not communicate value. It is just a list of attributes. It is still in the energy efficiency geek speak. Are there other recommendations for communicating value in the appraiser real estate agent speak to support the addendum?
Well, value is subjective because it's what people will pay for it. So from what I understand, so when an appraiser is looking at one house versus another, they have to find comps, right? So if they have one house and it has a deck, then they should find another house that has a deck and the swimming pool and all these very similar things amongst the houses. And then if one of those houses is sold for significantly more money, well, what was it about that house that made it sell for more money? Oh, well, this house has, it has solar panels, it has, it has really good attic air sealing and insulation, and it's listed out here as an attribute to the house. So value is subjective in the very local market. As far as reaching out to the real estate community, that's what I'm saying is when we do try to reach the real estate community, what we can say is these homes exist. Here's some studies proving that homes that have these attributes sell for more money. Therefore, when you are selling a home, make sure to ask your client about them. Or if the house is not moving, maybe think about what could we do to help it move faster? Could we go through the Home Performance with Energy Star program and upgrade the attic insulation and air sealing? So value, it's going to differ community by community, which actually some of the studies that I talked about up front mention.
Great. We still got some more questions here. Are you okay sticking around a little bit longer, Pamela?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Great. So for those of you who might have to jump out here, just to recap, thanks again for joining us. Thanks to Elevate Energy here and Pamela Brookstein. If you're looking for your continuing edge, you should be receiving an email here shortly to take a survey. Even if you don't need CEUs, please take that survey. If you're listening to this in the future on a recording, so I'm not talking to you guys here live today, you need to take a 10-question quiz and get a 70% passing rate to get your certificate. So make sure to please take that quiz after that. So we're going to keep going, though. For those of you who want to stick around for some more questions, I did want to point something out here real quick. I don't know if everyone can see my screen. This might be a little bit blurry. But, Pam, you kept talking a lot about millennials. I'm one of those millennials who apparently love sustainability. That's clear. But we're seeing a lot of the very older generation who are sort of buying their retirement home, their last home, or having it built, and they're like committing to net zero energy, net positive energy, trying to basically undo the emissions of their that they added to the climate during their lifetime. They've recognized in their age climate change is an issue, and that they want to be now a part of the solution in their home. And so here's a really cool couple that we worked with up in Michigan who got a Green Star certified gold new home. But we're just seeing more and more older couples reaching out to us and saying, we want to build our zero energy dream home. And so I also want to challenge everybody to to take a look at that market. Pam, I don't know if you're seeing any real data on that or not.
Well, so what I'm going to say is, yes, I should have talked about kind of that boomer generation as well. But there is almost no real estate agent out there who's going to make their fortune looking in if they're only working with green, self-described clients. But I'm telling you, this total cost of ownership, that's big because boomers are on a limited income. And I have my own little personal story, which is, so I'm at my mom's house, and I realized that all of the 1,000 bulbs in her house are incandescent. So I go out and I'm mortified. And so I go out and I spend an amazing amount of money on CFLs and LEDs, and I changed them all. My mom calls me in a couple months and said, "You would not believe how low my energy bill is." And I said, "I do believe how low your energy bill is." My mom does not care a whit about the environment, but she cares a lot about her electricity bill. So So there are those people out there who really care about this issue, and that makes me so, so happy. But definitely don't forget about that total cost of ownership piece and just making living, everyday living, easier. Because what can you do with that extra money? You can go out to dinner more, you can do whatever it is, you know, whether it's help pay the mortgage or not. But so look at both sides of that equation, the green and the saving money piece.
Great, thanks, and thanks for clarifying that that generational name. So another question that came in from Paul: as an architect specializing in residential architecture, my experience is that realtors assess value by size and bells and whistles rather than quality of design and craftsmanship. How can I check locally if the local realtors actually look at this type of data? I assume Green MLS data.
I don't know. I don't completely understand the question. I think, and I don't know if there's a way to find out. I guess if you have a friend who's a realtor, you can ask them to look at if their MLS has greenfields and if they're being checked or not. And this is a problem, right? Like, it's a problem that real estate may not know to look for attic insulation, which has no bells or whistles and is not sexy or exciting in any way. So they don't know how to look for it or value it. But again, so the first step is we have to make it known that this stuff exists. I have to have something as a homeowner that I can give my real estate agent. And if they're a good real estate agent, they'll say, I don't know about this, but I'm going to go learn about it so I can figure out how to value it correctly. It's a tough process. We're in for a long game right now, but there are people working on this across the country to try to speed it up.
Great, thanks. We still got time for maybe one more question and 2 points of clarification here. Thanks, Rob, for sharing. For those of you looking for certified realtors, agents, there's EcoBroker, and then the National Association of Realtors Green Certification as well that exists. And then also Green Star is developing a qualification course specifically geared towards realtors. Right now we have a conventional one, but they do have the ability to take that, and then there'll be a specific one for them as well to understand how to sell and value green homes here. And then the other one I wanted to clarify, you had mentioned you looked at all of the MLS systems, Pam, and was it the number 86% you said had some sort of greenfield in the country? Was that an accurate number?
We surveyed not all of them, because remember, there's 750 minimally of those things. We looked at the 100 that covered the largest 100 metropolitan statistical areas. And this was years ago, so my guess is the number is even higher. And of that very unscientific study, right, because this is self-reporting, 86 out of those 100 reported having what they termed as a greenfield. Okay.
Great. I just wanted to clarify that one. So,
yeah.
Well, I don't see any other questions here. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We're 6 minutes past the hour. Huge thanks to all of you joining us today, and a big thanks to Pamela Brookstein, with the Market Transformation Specialist at Elevate Energy. Elevate Energy has a fantastic home alert, high performance home value alert newsletter that you can get on. So Pam, maybe you can tell us a little bit more information where people can go to find out more about Elevate, and then also get on that mailing list before we wrap up.
Yeah, so, and here's where Google is helpful if you don't want to write this down. But so this is the website for going to the Value for High Performance Homes campaign, home. And on there, you can sign up for that news alert and read past issues should you want some bedtime reading. And really what it does is we try to compile kind of the latest tools, the latest research, the latest in the news, what's going on across the country in this little world where real estate and energy efficiency cross paths. And yeah, if you have trouble locating it, you know, please feel free to get in touch with me, or Brett can tell you how to get in touch with me. But this is a great page to look around and explore. And actually, hopefully this year we'll be updating it and it'll be even easier to navigate.
Great, thanks Pam. Make sure you guys check out elevateenergy.org. Thanks again for joining us. If you missed the webinar, you can always catch the recording both on our YouTube channel and our website, as well as check out all the events that we've put out there and content online at USGBC's education channel. And hopefully you'll be joining us for our continuing free CEU series. So thanks Pam, thanks everyone. Take care.
Thanks Brett. Bye-bye.
Bye.